Hi, I'm Wendy Rahamat and welcome once again to Indigenous Bites. Well, I'm here on the tropical dragon fruit farm owned by Mr. Anderson Bissoon. And Anderson has graciously allowed us to visit his farm today and to tell the story, or his story, of how he is farming this amazing fruit right here in Trinidad and Tobago. So Anderson, welcome and thank you.
Thank you for being here, Wendy.
It's a pleasure, and I'm so excited because I always thought that you had to import dragon fruit. So it's very sustainable what you're doing. You're making somewhat or a normally imported fruit available locally.
Yeah.
So we don't have to, we can cut our import bills even further.
Yes, you can.
So tell us about dragon fruit and tell me about how you got into this.
Well, we actually started in 2017, just randomly actually. I wouldn't say by accident, but while looking for exotic fruits to plant on the land here, I came across this fruit called dragon fruit, and the name alone is what captivated me. So I bought a few plants, and not really having so much of a green thumb back then, planted a few of them and they came out really good. And from there, we just keep propagating more and more, and the farm is what it is today.
So how did you, had you ever eaten dragon fruit before?
At that time, no. I never even had one to taste back then. It's just the name alone.
So you just went on the magical name, or
yeah,
I think you had mentioned you're a great fan of Game of Thrones, that's why.
That's why I bought the fruit actually.
I see you wearing your Game of Thrones t-shirt today too. So that's great. So this is like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, I'm sure the public is going to be very mesmerized by it. So this is a cactus.
Yes, it is.
Am I right? And so tell me how do you plant this? Like, what does your first plant look like? Just like a stalk of this that you plant?
Well, it can grow from seed, which takes 5 to 7 years,
right.
But from cutting, which would be from any part of the plant really, but let's say from a mature part of the plant.
Right.
From that you could propagate, dry it, put it in a sterile soil media and allow it to root, and then you could plant and get a whole new tree.
So if you had one dragon fruit tree, what, you just cut this off and plant this into a pot like you would a cactus?
This entire farm started off from 3 plants.
Wow.
3 little plants like that.
So how long does it take from the time that you plant your nursery to the time that, to get full grown like this?
Well, let's assume you're starting from today and you make a new cutting. You would leave it to dry for about 5 days. Then we would propagate that, place it into our soil media, leave it for about a month to root, and then we would transplant. It would take roughly about 9 months to 1 year from a young plant to a tree this size. And actually, these are about 1 year old. Okay,
so at 1 year, these grow much higher than this?
They can if you allow it to.
So prune it.
They grow on a concrete trellis that's 5 feet above the ground. So I'm not that tall. So
neither am I.
So the post, we only have it 5 feet high.
Okay.
So if let's say it was a 10-foot post, it will continue growing up and up.
So I see you kind of support it here, am I right? You
yes,
have to support
to the top of that particular trellis, there's 4 pieces of iron that we bend over the top,
yes,
and then we would cut the face of one of these tires and place it on top. So we'll be getting rid of a lot of tires from the landfills as well.
Right, and then it gives you that hangover.
Yes, the tire that we place on top is actually to protect the cactus itself when they bend over. Otherwise, it could, get cut from or scorch from the metal part on top.
It gives you a hangover effect without even indulging in any alcohol.
Yes.
So once it gets to this stage now, when do you start to get excited? Oh my God, I'm getting a dragon fruit.
Well, the fruiting season starts from about March every year and would end around November. So depending on the age of the plant,
right,
as long as that plant is mature enough in terms of age, between 9 to 12 months, at the start of the fruiting season, you should be able to get fruit from the plant.
So tell us, how does this grow? It looks like, I'm looking at one here, It's actually, it looks like it's ready. I don't have a clue. Tell us how you know.
This
but
one is ready to pick.
what happens when it starts to bud? Would it bud?
Right, so the first signs that you would see on the tree is a very tiny bud from each one of these nodules here, this little thorn.
So
You would
each of
get a
these
bud.
thorns can actually, in a perfect world, give you a bud.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
But you don't want to have too much buds on one particular stalk, right?
Yeah, they'll
So-
get too small.
Exactly. So
Okay.
we would break off some of them just to allow maybe 3 or 4
All right.
buds per shoot. And each bud eventually will turn into a fruit this big. And it will take, let's say, about 15 days from bud to flower and 30 days from flower to fruit.
So 15 days from that magical flower called Sirius.
Yeah,
And that blooms only at night, right?
only at night. So
Yeah.
the flower would open, let's say, about 7, 8 o'clock at night
Wow.
and would close about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Is it perfumed?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So you could smell one flower all the way over by the car if one flower bloomed tonight.
Right.
So you could just imagine having 500
What does
flowers.
it smell like? Like sweet?
Sweet, something like primrose, I would say.
Okay. Beautiful. So I wonder if they make perfume out of that as well.
I would believe so, but it's very, very fragrant.
Yeah, and this plant is propagated all through Southeast Asia and in Central
South
America.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, and parts of the Caribbean.
Yes.
I know I spoke to a friend recently, he told me he's been eating dragon fruit that's growing wild in Tobago.
There are a lot of indigenous varieties, I would say,
Yeah.
all over Trinidad and Tobago. So I would say it is somewhat native to here, but it was discovered in South America. So we're trying to cross-pollinate a few of the local varieties with the imported ones to
Right.
create our own variety.
But the thing is, remember, we are a tropical rainforest. So whatever grows in those Southeast Asian countries who also experience tropical
Yeah.
rainforest will naturally grow here as well. That's why we're so blessed here with the climate that we have, you know.
So when do you want to pick this one?
Oh, I would love to, yes.
So
So how do we pick
using
this?
this shears, and you want to cut. So there's a cambium layer or a hard stalk to the center here. So you want to cut all the way down to that and just gently
So
bend it down.
Cutting like this then.
Yeah, making a kind of V cut lower
Okay.
down.
So,
Yeah, go in a little more. A little more. Right, and just bend it down gently and then bend it back up. Right.
right.
Just
I think I
careful with
took
the
off too
thorns.
much. So I think earlier you were talking, well, let's not get sidetracked. Tell us about what happens after the flower.
Right, so the flower, which is actually this part here that dried up,
Yes, exactly. We can see that.
right? So you could break this off.
Right.
So you can use this in your tea,
Right.
but what we would do, because if you open the inside here, you may get some bugs inside. So you could draw this in some warm water and you could use it as tea. It has a kind of earthy flavor, but it's very good for you as well. But what we do, about 3 days after the flower opens and pollination takes place, we would cut that flower off. We have a dehydrator. We would open out the inside here, take out the pollen, wash the inside, and we would dehydrate this. And you could cut this up into really fine pieces and actually put it in a tea bag and make
Oh,
dragon fruit tea with it. And the
Wow.
flower as well, in kind of wet state or fresh off of the tree 3 days after pollination, you could cut that up and use it as a vegetable substitute.
So, great, yeah. That's I want to talk to you about that a little later on, about all different uses. But so after the flower, you get the bud, and then the bud turns into this beautiful fruit. How long did you say? 15 days?
From bud to flower, 15 days, and
Right.
from flower
Bud to
to fruit, 30 days
30 days. And how do you know when it's ready? You go by the color?
by the color.
So once
And we time it as well. We would
Yeah.
pick it exactly at 30 days. But this fruit, 2 days ago, would have been completely green, just like the stalk. And so it turns bright red in a matter of a day or two.
And you were saying that this whole fruit is actually very sustainable because you can actually eat this skin as well.
Yes, we also use the skin as tea. You could, in tea, you could use the skin in jams. We've made anchar with it. We've made, the sweet and sour jam.
So you can cook it and eat it, right? So it's sustainable.
Yeah.
You can have it all the way through.
The only part that I haven't found out to be useful as yet is the root, because the stalk as well. If you take out the thorns, you could cut off the fleshy part and you could use it in salad. So we use the stalk, we use the flower, and we use the fruit and the skin.
So this would be like a cactus, because I know Central American people use a lot of cacti in their cooking. So how did you find breaking out into the market?
Well, it was tough at first. Now starting up, because we've done everything on this farm ourselves.
Right.
My wife and I got a lot of help from our parents, but most of the work was done by us on the farm.
Right, okay. So Anderson, this has been so much fun. Thank you very much for having us here today, but I have to go and cook this dragon fruit and do something with it. So we had a little secret, we paired a little magic with it. So let's go and check it out now.
Let's go.
So Anderson, that was so exciting. Thank you for all that informative and excited information about dragon fruit. So now we're going to make something really delicious with dragon fruit. We're going to do a dragon fruit sorbet.
What's a sorbet, Wendy?
Well, a sorbet is just like ice cream without the milk. Okay. It's a very, very refreshing dessert that's perfect for the hot weather that we're having these days, right?
Okay.
So what we usually start with is just like a mixture of some sugar syrup, and maybe today I'm putting some lime juice into that to counteract the sweetness of the fruit. So basically it's a syrup with fruit and a little bit of lime juice. That's it, and you put it into your ice cream maker. Okay. And it's done. It's really light and refreshing and really delicious. So we're going to use some dragon fruit for that. And with that, I'm going to put some bananas, some lime juice, and I've got some sugar syrup here that I made up last night, and that's basically brown sugar and water. So I'm using brown sugar because I really like the flavor of brown sugar. So let's start by this. You want to peel these two bananas for me? I'll peel one and I'll peel the other. So I'm adding bananas.
To the bowl?
Yeah, you could sort of break it up if you want with your hand a little bit, like so. Right, good. So let's start by crushing that up. You want to do that for me? Now you could do this if you had a food processor as well, but because we're out here cooking on set, on the location, we'll just do everything by hand. But it's good for people to know how to do things by hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this good?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. I think that's fine, because you have to put the dragon fruit in there too.
Right.
So, show us these beautiful dragon fruits you've got there that you're going to let us use. So look at how beautiful that is. So tell us about this dragon fruit that you just picked.
Alright, so let's use the biggest one then. So this dragon fruit, well, was just harvested. So from bud, which would be, we don't have any here, but from bud to flower is about 15 days.
Right.
And from flower to fruit is exactly 30 days, and then we will harvest.
So how do we know when you buy a dragon fruit that is ready? Because you know, usually they say when you pick tropical fruit especially, you have to leave it a few days for it to get ripe. This dragon fruit, do you have to do that with dragon fruit as well?
No, you don't. From our farm, we will pick it ripe off of the tree, but if you leave it for 1 or 2 days more on the tree itself, this part here will split open.
Okay,
which
right.
the fruit will be sweeter, but the fruit will burst open. So exactly 30 days after
Right.
it blooms, we would harvest the fruit 30 days after.
So,
And it would turn this red color in a matter of a day or two. It would be completely
okay.
green
right.
by, let's say, the 20th day, and by the 30th day, it will be completely red. On
And
the
the
outside.
longer you leave it, the red is going to, all this area will get red as well?
Not really.
Okay.
The tips here would remain green with this particular variety. Some are even more green all the way down to the flesh here, but this particular variety, this is the max it will be.
I think the most exciting thing about dragon fruit, I mean, the taste is lovely, but the color is just so magical. It's like so perfect, right? Because I know you had gifted me some before, and it stayed in my fridge for a very long time.
Yeah, it would last really
Very,
long.
very long time. So it won't spoil on you then.
No.
So if you see it out there, go and buy it. You don't think you have to eat it right away, right?
No, it will last long even outside of the fridge, about a week or 2.
Yeah. So when it gets sweeter, you left it?
Not really.
Okay.
It will get all the sugars off of the tree. If you put it down, it doesn't get sweeter.
Right.
Like,
so
let's say with
like a mango or pineapple.
Yeah, it wouldn't get sweeter.
Right. So I'm going to cut this in half now. This is what is so, I mean, that is like so magical. I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
you
nice
know,
magenta color.
the beauty of the color is just great, and this imparts its color to everything you put it into, you know.
Yes,
and
even if you take it out with your hands, or you're eating it with your hands, it will stain your fingers a bit as well.
So this red color, I was reading up about it. It's the same derivative of what makes beets red.
Yeah.
So so same family, and it's very nutritious too. Did you know that? It's got fiber.
Yes, it is.
And it's got magnesium. Yeah, it's got magnesium. So giving you some trivia
And
there.
vitamin C.
And vitamin C, yes.
Antioxidants.
Right.
It's very healthy.
And it's so good.
You put that in your honor.
Yes. So. Got some bees around us today doing some pollinating.
Yeah. They're helping out the working today.
And you could actually use this as a bowl after too.
Yeah, you could use it as a bowl, but we use the skin. You could boil it. Well, just draw it like you would tea bags.
Oh.
And we use it as tea as well. And it's very healthy as well.
You're gonna crush that up for us too. So people probably wondering what it tastes like, right? What do you think dragon fruit tastes like, Anderson?
Well, my best description for it is a cross between a kiwi and a pear, but it's not as acidic as the kiwi.
I agree. It's a nice mild sort of tasting fruit so that you can eat a lot of it. And I don't think the sugars are so high, you know. But I'm just so excited that you're growing this here and it's available locally.
That's good, Wendy?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's really good. That's good. So you want to put the lime juice into that now?
How much lime juice we want to
Just throw it. I've already measured. That's about a cup of lime juice.
Oh, the entire thing?
Yeah. And that's fresh lime juice, huh? Not sweetened lime juice. Because the sweetness comes from the lovely brown sugar we have here. So you see how gorgeous that's coming together now? Right. And let's put some cocoa bitters in there.
Yeah, I like cocoa bitters.
Yeah, I think it'll go really good with the bananas actually. Because bananas and cocoa chocolate goes really well together.
Yeah.
So I think we want about 2 teaspoons in there. So what do you use cocoa bitters for? Put it.
I actually use mine in coffee.
Yeah.
Tastes good in coffee.
Probably really good in coffee. So let's add a little orange to that as well. Because the orange and the dragon fruit now is going to make it come together beautifully. Gonna put a few dashes there,
Citrus
Shani?
flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Beautiful. So what we do with this now, because this is all finished, you see how gorgeous and red that is?
Yeah, I like the color.
Yeah, it's beautiful, eh? You know, for me, cooking and eating is about, you eat with your eyes first, eh?
Yeah.
Always. And when you see something as beautiful as this, it's just like, it's magical, you know? So it's like pomerac flowers too.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
bright, the
that
bright
bright-
magenta color.
Yeah, it's very Caribbean beautiful. So we're going to take this, well, we put it into the magic ice cream maker we have. And then we're going to come back and see what it looks like.
Okay.
So Anderson, we've got the magic machine. It's working really well today. So you want to grab the sorbet out of it?
Wendy, where you got this machine?
Boy, online
magic
shopping.
machine.
Yeah, it's the latest thing now. So see how gorgeous that is? So let's go and scoop some of this out. You'll taste it and tell me whether
Looks
what
really
you think of
creamy.
it. Yeah, and you know what? That's from the bananas, and there's no no milk in that at all, huh? Okay, my ice cream scoop is okay. Great. It's the color, boys. The color is so beautiful. And this has got lime, bananas. You know, everything that's great about the Caribbean.
You could eat the seeds and everything from
Yep.
the dragon fruit.
You can. Everything is edible. So let's put this back into our chiller.
Magic freezer.
So there you go. Try it and tell me what you think.
It's really good and sweet, creamy.
Perfect for this hot day, right?
Exactly.
And it's healthy, you know. This is like very low fat. Actually, there's no fat in here at all.
It has a nice tanginess to it. I guess that's from the lime juice.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I really like this.
Great.
The kids will like this and all too for the hot weather.
Yeah, it's easy to make. And you know, if you didn't have an ice cream maker or a magic maker, all you do is put it into like a cake pan, shallow, stick it in your freezer, and scrape it up every 20 minutes
Yeah,
until it gets icy and incorporated.
and it's not that it doesn't have like ice chunks or anything in it. It's
Oh,
very
it's
very smooth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thanks for that. That's right. So yeah. So you enjoy that?
This is really good.
Thanks a lot. It's been so much fun, and buy your dragon fruit the next time you see it, guys.